Hello everybody, my name is Xuul and welcome to the Skyrim mod showcase. Alrighty, in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at Noir ENB Fogbound. As usual, the brightness and contrast has been adjusted just a little bit to try and offset the YouTube compression and make these clips match what I see, although they might not look exactly like you see them now. If you want to see the settings, the hardware, all that kind of stuff, click on the screen now. Alright, so this ENB. As you can probably already tell from the very first comparison shot, it is very much a cinematic ENB. And it is in a noir style, so think Sin City, stuff like that, you know? It's kind of that black and white, moody, gloomy style. So the contrast is very low, it's going to be very gray, and if you judge by the name Fogbound, there's going to be a very heavily present fog. This is very different than some of the other ENBs that I have shown before, that make the colors very vivid, that make things very bright. This ENB makes things look dull, kind of mystical and mysterious. This is an excellent ENB for screenshots, for machinima video clips, things like that, because it makes the world of Skyrim look haunted, look kind of creepy almost. I mean, you can tell from this shot right away, it takes this day that just looks plain and boring and turns it into this. You can barely even see in the distance through the heavy fog. Now, while some people might not like it, I think it makes shots like this look incredible. So before, you kind of had our standard lakeside shot, where it looks normally fairly nice, fairly quaint, kind of magical, and in this shot, it looks like a haunted house in the middle of the river. It's creepy. It adds a very creepy aesthetic to it, and I very much like it. When we move over to our interior shots, it deals with that very overexposed area in the Dwemer ruins that we use in our typical comparison shots very well. And if we take a look at the actual sparks and the steam effects and all that kind of stuff here, we'll notice that that's one of the only things that's not changed. This ENB seems to keep with the Sin City feel in that red is really the only color that's allowed to exist. We'll see that a little bit more when we get into our lighting comparison for magical lighting, but let's take a look at this dock. The nights aren't too dark. This is deep at night, and the fire, while it is still red, is very toned down, but overall it looks good. It actually looks really good in snowstorms as well. I was very surprised by this in that a lot of ENBs don't do the best job of representing these snowstorms. However, this one makes it look like it's cold. It kind of gives me a chilling feel once again. This is a very haunting ENB. Now, as far as magical lights are concerned, they are very pallid and drained. I guess that kind of goes with the aesthetic, although I kind of would have liked a bit of contrast from this, something like that, because magical lights are pretty much rendered gray by this ENB. They look dead, as if the magic from this world has been totally sapped from it. Again, here is our light rain and overcast shot. This one looks really good as well. It makes the mountains look haunted, mystical, and empty. I really like this ENB, although I don't think I would actually use it for playing. Maybe if I was recording some sort of video series, something like that, this seems like the premier ENB of choice. It does have the black bars. I might consider wanting to remove those using the ENB settings, because I'm personally not a fan of the black bars thing, but some people like it, and it does make things look much more cinematic. Going back to how reds are one of the few colors that are allowed to stay in this ENB, this night shot. We can see one of the moons, and it is red. It is a point of color, it is a point of contrast, and it looks really good. At our fire shots, though, it's a little bit disappointing. The fires, due to the noir look, aren't very vivid, look dull and dead once again. And when we move over to our more mystical shots, some more problems arise. The Atronach stone has a very heavy red mystical fog, and because of the way the sunset in the background interacts with this shot, it makes it look strange. mystical, and cool, but also a little bit weird and kind of pink. I'm not quite sure why. This mod is meant to be used with realistic lighting and effects, which I did do. And this scene in particular, this is probably one of my favorite scenes with this mod. I can just imagine somebody making a really cool Skyrim video series kind of set in this location, because just look at that. A werewolf somewhere out there hunting people down, something like that. I don't know, it just kind of gives me that really cool feeling. The shadows inside look really good, as always with the ENB mod. Love this mod. It's probably my favorite reason for using an ENB is the shadows. They're not too dark. You're not necessarily going to need a torch. I mean, with the way that realistic lighting and effects affects the interiors, I would probably recommend going with a torch, but you can actually kind of get away without one because there's not that bold contrast that exists in some ENBs. So overall, for my performance, whatever you want to call this part of the video, I'll say maybe a torch. It is definitely a cinematic ENB. The FPS loss was minimal for me, although in some ports I did lose it, so let's give it around a 5 FPS loss. And as far as cinematics go, I'm going to give this ENB a 4 out of 5. It looks incredible. It's just not something I'd use to play with. I didn't like the black bars, and there was a couple of problems with the fire and that kind of thing that kept it from being perfect, but again, that's kind of a limitation of the mod. Overall, I would really recommend you download this one and try it out for yourself. Don't forget to give the mod author an endorsement, all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much it. If you would like to see more ENB videos, I think there should be more after this one. I'm not quite sure the order these are coming out in, but if you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing to my channel. I also cover a lot of other stuff, Skyrim mods, Oblivion mods. If you don't know how to mod Oblivion, I got some tutorials for you. Dragon Age mods, Knights of the Old Republic mods. I cover all that stuff. I also do suggested software, game reviews. I've done a ton of stuff on my channel. Let me know what you'd like to see. I don't know how to end videos, so I'm just going to randomly stop talking halfway through this.